Who dat to the Who Dat Nation? Welcome to the Dome Patrol podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and we have entered week 9 of the NFL season. And for week 9's matchup, the New Orleans Saints will host the Chicago Bears this Sunday, 12 noon on CBS in the Superdome nonetheless. And we have come off of a dominant victory last week, a very impressive win by the New Orleans Saints, where it kind of took the bad taste out of our mouths that we was on this 2-game losing skid, and things weren't looking too good. We were ready to burn Dennis Allen at the stakes. We were ready to nail Derek Carr to the cross. It was just a mess, and rightfully so. They looked horrible. They really did, and they turned it around last week. Now, the big question going into week 9, was last week a fluke? Will we repeat the performance of last week or revert back to what we were doing prior? I am kind of on the fence with both because I have no earthly idea. I don't know what this team is. I don't know what their identity is moving forward. Can this team prove that they're one of the best in the NFC? Or should I say NFC South? Let's just stick with the division here. In a division that is, to put it plainly, weak. This is a weak division. And theoretically, this team, being the New Orleans Saints, should be in firm control of this division. But you are what your record says you are, and they are 500 at a record of 4-4 thus far, and tied for first place, a 3-way tie nonetheless, with Atlanta and Tampa Bay. The only reason we're in a tie with Tampa Bay is because we lost to Tampa Bay. And so we are in a fight, in a dog fight, which makes this matchup against the Chicago Bears a must win. There were a lot of questions this past Tuesday. Were the Saints going to make a move before the trade deadline? And unfortunately, they didn't. And I know there will be some people out there that would say, well, the Saints didn't need to. We're pretty stacked everywhere, which is true. Theoretically, that is true, but there's always room for improvement. You just look at a team like the San Francisco 49ers. They are stacked, but that didn't stop them from making a trade for one of the best pass rushers in this league, Chase Young, and where they got him from the Washington Commanders for a 3rd-round pick. Pretty cheap. That for a 1st-round talent. Well, I think he was 2nd overall, if I'm not mistaken, in the draft a couple of years ago. And they got him for a 3rd round. That is bargain basement prices there for a premier pass rusher to go along with their other pass rusher, Nick Bosa, who ironically also went to Ohio State and played along with Chase Young. They both were 2nd overall picks. And this is a formidable defensive line. Scary even. And so they saw where they can make some adjustments and some improvements, and they made said improvement. The Philadelphia Eagles, they constantly making moves. The Detroit Lions made moves before the deadline. Teams that are in good position right now, who are, dare I say, playoff caliber teams, are still making moves to get better. And that's where I was kind of like, okay, the Saints can still make some moves here. Now, that's not to say that the Saints just sat on their hands during the trade deadline or before the trade deadline. They were trying to get Hunter Renfrow from the Las Vegas Raiders, but that deal didn't go through. Now, that's the one thing I'm like, well, I wouldn't have went receiver. I think we're all right at receiver. Maybe try to get an offensive lineman. We actually have needs there. You know, let's get an offensive lineman in here. Or they could have offered that third round pick to Washington for Chase Young. That would have been a great addition to this defensive line. Now, I know we have Carl Granderson, who is playing out of his mind this season. We also have Cam Jordan, but Cam Jordan has been quiet, to say the least, this season thus far. But it's more of a rotation thing, more of a depth thing, to have bodies there that are vulnerable on that defensive line. But nothing took place, nothing happened, so it is what it is. Now, the Saints did lose Jalen Smith off of our practice squad. He went to the Raiders. And I was excited that we had Jalen Smith, but we never used him. I thought Jalen Smith would have been a great addition to rotate, to try to help out Demario Davis. And that didn't take place, which is fine. It's fine in a way because, Demario Davis has been playing out of his mind. He's leading the team in tackles this year, as he always is. I mean, that's Demario Davis. He is one of the best linebackers in the league, and I think he's very underrated. Now, the Saints did sign Corey Littleton to our practice squad, a linebacker. So we lost one and we got one. So there you have with that. But other than that, the Saints didn't make any moves this week to improve this squad. But, let's see. Let's see where we go from here. They really didn't have to do anything, to be honest with you. The Saints have everything they need. Let's see them put it together. Let's see them put it together and see how this 53-man roster right now that it was constructed in the offseason, how it works. Because we still haven't seen it. Last week aside, we haven't seen it. Last week, it was decent. But it wasn't the greatest performance of all time. Let's not get it mistaken here. But, I mean, it was a good victory. Well-fought victory. And it looked like it was coming together. I'm skeptical to the highest level because I've never seen this team. Well, I ain't going to say never. But I haven't seen this team put two great performances back-to-back in the past 2 to 3 years. So, this is going to be a test. And you're going up against a, dare I say, weaker opponent in the Chicago Bears. But following that dominating 38-27 win against the Colts to move into a tie for first place in the NFC South, the New Orleans Saints, who are 4-4 right now, will look to move back above 500 and retain at least a tie for first place in the division when they host the Chicago Bears, who are 2-6 on Sunday. In looking to move back above the 500 mark and improve their standing leading up to the Week 11 bye, the Saints will have to face two NFC North opponents, starting this Sunday against the Bears, and then the following Sunday on November the 12th against the Minnesota Vikings. The New Orleans Saints offense has put 3 straight games of 400 or more net total yardage for the first time since 2018. And last week, the Saints put up 511 total net yards against the Indianapolis Colts, the highest since Christmas Day of 2020. New Orleans is moving into the right direction on both the net yards per game and points per game as far as the lead rankings are concerned. The Bears will start their rookie quarterback Tyson Bagent for the third straight week in place of Justin Fields, who is out with a dislocated thumb sustained in week 6 against the Vikings. Bagent had a 97.2 passer rating in his first start, a week 7 win versus the Raiders, but had 2 interceptions in the Bears' week 8 loss against the Chargers, where he had a 62 passer rating. Chicago Bears head coach Matt Eberflus said after the game, the first game was good, and what was different was the takeaways. I still think he can deliver the ball well. He took some shots down the field, which we didn't see in the first game, which was exciting to see. We're going to continue to stretch the field vertically and horizontally. Going around the NFC South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are 3-4, will play the Houston Texans this week. The Carolina Panthers, who are 1-6, will host the Colts, our opponent from last week, and the Falcons, who are 4-4, will host the Vikings, who are also 4-4. Going through the history of these two teams, historically, the Saints lead this matchup in the regular season, 17-13. One of 11 clubs they have a winning record against. The Saints have won one of 3 postseason contests, victorious in the 2020 NFC wildcard matchup. They will also be looking to extend the regular season win streak to 7 games. New Orleans has taken the last 6 meetings, including a 26-23 overtime win on November the 1st of the year 2020 at Soldier Field. The 6-game regular season winning streak against the Bears is the longest against any opponent. Of the 30 regular season contests in the all-time series, 15 have been decided by 8 points or less. New Orleans has posted a 6-2 regular season record against the Bears in contests played at the Superdome. Let's go over the NFL League rankings, starting with the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints are 4-4. The Chicago Bears are 2-6. Scoring average, Saints are 17th in the league. They are tied with, you guessed it, the Chicago Bears. They are both 17th in the league, both averaging 21.4 points a game. Opponents' scoring average, Saints are ranked 9th in the league with 19.3 points a game. The Chicago Bears are 28th in the league, giving up 27.3. Total offense, the Saints are ranked 12th, 349.1 yards a game to Chicago's 320.6, ranking them at 19th in the league. Rushing offense, the Saints are ranked 20th, averaging 106 yards a game to the Chicago Bears' 6th ranked rushing offense, averaging 132.8. Passing offense, Saints are tied for 9th in the league, averaging 243.1 yards a game to the Chicago Bears' 26th ranked passing offense with 187.9. Total defense, the Saints defense is 5th in the league, 296.4 to the Chicago Bears' 23rd ranked defense, averaging 341. Rush defense, Saints are ranked 5th yet again, 296.4 to the Chicago Bears' 3rd ranked rushing defense, allowing a 78.8 average. Passing defense, Saints once again 5th in the league, 296.4 to the Chicago Bears' 30th in the league, 262.3. Turnover margin, the Saints are ranked 9th in the league with a +3 turnover margin, whereas the Chicago Bears are ranked 25th in the league with a -4 turnover margin. Penalties, Saints and the Chicago Bears are pretty bad as far as penalized teams. Saints have 54 penalties thus far this season with 513 penalty yards. Chicago Bears are 52 penalties with 439 penalty yards. Team leaders, we have in passing, our team leader is, of course, Derek Carr. He has 1,910 passing yards so far this season with 8 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He has a QBR of 52. Rush leader is Alvin Kamara. He has 320 yards off of 86 carries with 2 touchdowns. The Saints leading receiver is still Chris Olave with 517 yards on 44 catches with 1 touchdown so far this season. Over on defense, the Saints' leading tackler is linebacker Demario Davis with 55 tackles so far this season with 2 sacks. Speaking of sacks, our sack leader this season is Carl Grandison with 5.5 sacks, and he has 34 tackles. Interceptions, Paulson Adebo, he has 2 interceptions with 8 pass defenses and 20 tackles so far this season. Moving over to our injury report. This is the final injury report released by the New Orleans Saints and the Chicago Bears leading into this Sunday's matchup. First up, we have one player that is ruled out for this Sunday, and that is Ty Summers, linebacker. He has a concussion and hamstring injury. He has been ruled out. Malcolm Roach, he has an illness. He is questionable for this Sunday. And running back Kendrick Miller, he has an illness as well. He is questionable for this Sunday. I don't know what's up with that illness, but that whatever's going around that locker room, it is hitting them. They had it last week, and I guess it brought us luck. So I mean, keep it. I guess whatever it is working. I just hope that there is nothing long lasting for them. God bless them. Moving over to the Chicago Bears, they have a few players that have been ruled out for this Sunday's game, beginning with their guard, Nate Davis. He has an ankle injury. He has been ruled out for Sunday's game. Quarterback Justin Fields with a dislocated right thumb. He is listed as doubtful, but it was already said he is out for Sunday's game. Cornerback Terrell Smith, he has an illness as well. He is ruled out for Sunday's game. Safety Jaquin Basker, he has a concussion. He has been ruled out. Linebacker Tremaine Edmonds, he has a knee injury. He has been ruled out for Sunday's game. And offensive lineman Braxton Jones, he has a neck injury. He has been listed as questionable for this Sunday's matchup. Keys to victory for this Sunday matchup against the New Orleans Saints. We have a few. Keys to victory here. Number one, as far as the Saints defense is concerned, they have to keep the run game in check, because the Chicago Bears are going to try to protect their rookie quarterback. They're not going to put the game in their hands. At least I would hope not. I think that they're going to lean on that run game heavily, to whereas the quarterback doesn't have to drop back 50 times, because if they do that, the Saints win. And so they're going to try to control the line of scrimmage, try to control the clock, keep the Saints offense off the field, and protect their rookie quarterback. So the Saints really have to take the run away and put the ball in their quarterback's hands and see how that plays out for them. Our other key to victory, protect Derek Carr. Another acquisition that was made before the trade deadline, the Chicago Bears, they traded for Montez Sweat from the Washington Reds. Washington gave away, I mean, it was like a fire sale in Washington, man. I didn't understand it, but whatever. But they traded away Montez Sweat, and he is a very, very good pass rusher. And most likely 9 times out of 10, he's going to play. He's going to play this Sunday. I'll be shocked if he don't. So we have to protect Derek Carr and try to neutralize this newfound pass rush that they have and run the ball. That's the best way to neutralize a pass rushing defense. And my final key to victory is a continuation to our last key to victory. Rely on Alvin Kamara. Rely on this run game. We saw last week that the run game was just outstanding from the New Orleans Saints. They controlled the ball. They controlled the time of possession. They controlled the pace of the game. And we run the ball that opened up so much down the field. Down the field was wide open. Now, it's easier said than done because the Chicago Bears defense is third against the run so far this season. So I'm not saying that we can get loose for 200 yards of rushing of rushes throughout this game, but keep them honest. We have to keep them honest and pound the rock with Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams. And I think this is more of a Jamal Williams game. And to be honest with you, he's familiar with going up against this team coming from the NFC North. He formerly was with the Detroit Lions. And so he knows this team inside and out. So I would rely on him. Plus, he's the more tougher runner out of the two. I would say Kendrick Miller, but he is questionable going into this game with that illness. So I don't know the status on Sunday, how he will hold up. But definitely lean on this run game. And that will open up those passing lanes down the field, because let's not forget that even though the Bears defense is third against the run, they're 30th against the pass. So that'll be there for you. It's kind of like it was last week. Same thing with the Colts defense. I think they were ranked high against the run, and they were close to last. I think they were 31st against the pass. So we saw the results of that. And same formula is copy and paste. Let's see if we can string together another victory. I'm not picking yet again. I'm not going to pick because every time I pick, we lose. And so I'm not going to pick. But I'm hoping for a victory here. And I'm hoping that we can look dominant as we were last week. Look like the team that we were expecting to see all this season. Hey, is it later than I expected? Yeah. I was hoping week 1 we was going to come out game busters. But hey, better late than never. I would say that much. So I'm hoping for a victory. This is a winnable game, but we've lost winnable games in the past. So here's fingers crossed, toes crossed, and everything else. I'm hoping for a victory this Sunday. I would like to know what do you think is the outcome for this Sunday's matchup against the Chicago Bears. You can email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look me up on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, we're on YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Dome Patrol here on the KB Radio Network. Everyone, thank you for joining me for this preview of the Week 9 matchup between our New Orleans Saints and their Chicago Bears. Can't wait to speak to you after the game this Sunday as we recap, hopefully, a Saints victory. Until then, I'm going to be screaming loud and proud, "Who dat?"